Hello and welcome to the AuthorAlly podcast. I am your host, John Ryder, author of the suspenseful thriller, Forest Hill Falls, now available on paperback and hardcover through Amazon and ebook through Apple Books and Google Books. If you haven't already, go out and join the new subreddit, AuthorAlly, for the latest on new books, stories, and incredible authors. If you would like to support the podcast and channel, consider giving a donation to help us keep moving forward by going to paypal.me/AuthorAlly or searching for JQ Publishing on Venmo. But enough about me, the channel, or our subreddit. Today we have our guest, N.E. White, from just outside Northern California, author of Mapmaker, a trilogy. And I'm thrilled to know more about this book and her entire journey. So let's get started. Hi, how are you doing today, Neela? How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, John. How are you?
I'm excellent. And I'm thrilled you came here. We saw your book, and I thought that it had a lot of elements that are so interesting to cover. So I wanted to dive in. And maybe before we do that, Neela, maybe you can give us a background on you and your journey here as a writer.
Sure. I've been creatively writing for maybe about 20 years or so. I've always enjoyed writing from a very early age, but that just wasn't the direction that I got steered. I even had an English teacher who said, "Oh, you're not going to be a writer. You're going to be a scientist." And it was just like, so it was just from a very early age, it was just put on me that I was going to go that route. And so that's my background. I'm a fire ecologist and a GIS, Geographic Information Specialist. So I make maps for a living,
Wow.
but it's all data oriented and a lot of modeling, fire behavior modeling for land management purposes. So very technical aspect of and that's my life, my profession. But I also really enjoy writing and bringing all those things that I enjoy about the outdoors, about my work, through my stories. And so it's just always something I've wanted to do. And I got into a certain age where I just thought, this is it. If I keep putting it off, it's never going to happen. And so I just decided to self-publish. So I'm happy with it, though. I mean, I'm happy with how everything's turning out, and I finally feel that I've gotten to a stage where I can present it to the public, and people might like it.
Well, good for you. I mean, that's amazing. Like that you even took the step to branch outside of what you're normally doing in your daily working life, right? And you found this other hobby and you're like, you know what? I want to pursue that. That is half the battle. So many
Mhm.
times I talk to people and they're like, oh, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. I have people in my own family that say that, hey, I wish I could have done this. And it's like, you could have. You just didn't, you just didn't do it. You just
Yes,
half the battle is yeah, right. Half the battle is like you just have to try to do it, and that's step one. And then by the time you look back, you'll say, "Wow, I actually did it!" Right.
Yeah.
So good for you for doing that. I always commend people because that's such a it's really brave of you to do. It's very scary to just kind of do something new that, especially something creative, where
Mhm.
you know that you may get judged probably negatively for it or positively. You're going to get a ton of different opinions on it.
Yeah.
So good for you for being able to do that. And it sounds like writing was always something you were interested in. You must have loved English class, I take it, yeah?
No, actually, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't my favorite subject, and that was again, why I was pushed towards the sciences, because it was maybe I'm just more naturally analytical, but
Sure.
I didn't want to tell the story, but I'll go ahead and tell the story. When I was maybe in the seventh or eighth grade, that English teacher who told me that I was going to be a scientist and not a writer, she had to leave for vacation or something, and I got stuck in the remedial English class. Like our
Right.
entire upper, whatever the smart kid class got stuck in with the not so smart kids, and the poor teacher, Mr. Johnson, he didn't know what to do with so many of us, so he just told us all to write a story. and he was going to, the best ones he was going to read out loud in the class. And the only one he read out was mine.
Oh, wow,
And
look at you.
he thought it was great. And of course, I was just like a kid, and I didn't know that I had any would have any effect. I didn't know anyone would ever read my story and enjoy it. It was a ghost story, so a lot of atmosphere, a kid going through a house, and it was just it was just amazing to get that feedback. And then when my English teacher came back, that's when she said, "You're not going to be a writer, you're going to be a scientist." And so I just kind of put that away and just thought, oh no, that's just not who I am. And so it teachers are great, right? They can affect you in such really strong ways. And Miss Johnson did give me that boost of confidence that I never would have ever thought that I could ever be creative in that way. And but then it kind of another teacher kind of squashed it, and so it's interesting. It was very, very interesting, and it's interesting to see where I'm like, hey, I'm 55, and I'm finally getting back to that, doing that
Let's
creative writing. So
go.
it's great.
You ended up becoming a writer after all. That's amazing.
Anyway, yeah.
So you
And
have
a
this book.
scientist.
Oh, and the exactly, and the
Yeah.
scientist. You're a dual
Yeah.
threat for sure. So tell me, all right. So let's dive into your book a little bit. The
Yes.
Mapmaker. I understand it's a trilogy, so much to talk
Yes.
about. What's it about? Tell our viewers and our listeners what it's about, and let's start there.
Sure. Mapmaker is basically about just one gal. It's set in a kind of a completely fantasy world, but it's inspired by kind of the Roman Empire period and just that whole culture. And why I guess I'm just attracted to that. I recently went to Italy, actually, for a fire ecology conference
Hmm.
in Florence and Rome, and so I got to see some amazing things. And I guess I just like it, and so I just thought I set the story in that sort of um flavor, I guess, as far as the setting goes. And then all of my characters are, and I didn't realize this until I'm older, but just about all of my characters are winged. They have wings,
Oh,
and that this definitely a metaphor for just this, being able to set yourself free and reach places
yeah.
that you wouldn't ever thought that you reach. And so that's definitely what the character, her whole arc is, just that she never thought she'd ever reach the heights that she ended up reaching.
Interesting. I like that. So
Yeah,
part of it, it's got some liberation kind of themes to it.
absolutely. Oh yes. Well, she starts out as a slave. I don't want to emphasize that slave mentality, because I that's not necessarily the focus of the book, but it's more that we all kind of feel that we're restrained in some way. We restrain ourselves. So culture and society restrains ourselves, and so this was just, that uh, we don't have to be that way. Whether it's
Sure.
and we do, and no matter what our situations are, we do have choices to make.
And I think that's what kind of captivated me when reading the description of your book is like, I kind of related it to real life. Like we are, to a sense, shackled from our own liberation to do the things we truly want to do.
Hmm.
Some of us are stuck in a 9 to 5 job that we may not
Yeah,
like, and we would prefer to do other things. And while
absolutely.
you're doing that job, you're just so focused on the other things you could be doing. I've been there countless times,
Yeah.
just in my own personal life. And I'm sure others have felt that way as well. So I think that I understand what you're saying. Like, it's not about them being a slave more so than it's about the yearning for something more, right?
Correct. Correct.
So I get that. And so I guess I'm curious, like, what inspired that? What made you want to make a book sort of about that theme?
That's a good question. I don't know if I'm that kind of writer. Like I don't think of the theme first. I'm
Sure.
definitely a character oriented, not only character in situation, places. I'm a big place person, and I
Mhm.
love adventure stories. I mean, we've all read adventure stories in our youth, and I I really gravitate towards stories that take you to physical different places or describe the physical places and doing not necessarily fun but adventurous things. And so that's I'm more inspired by that than um, uh, what people would call theme, and that definitely I think the theme in my books definitely come afterwards, like in the editing
Mm,
process, but I
sure.
sprinkle that stuff in.
I like that. So yeah, it's kind of like you have the skeleton of the story and then you sprinkle a little bit extra in there. I like that. Very, very interesting way to doing it. So I totally get you are more scenic. I imagine you're well traveled. You've probably seen the world a little bit.
I
I
I
mean, you
have
said you went to Italy.
for work, I've been blessed in that for my work, I've been able to go to a lot of different places. Yeah, I've been
Nice.
to Africa 3 times.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Ethiopia is amazing. I mean, I don't know why more people don't go. The food is absolutely phenomenal. Kenya was also, again, just absolutely phenomenal. It's just the beautiful places. My husband's from New Zealand, so I've been to New Zealand a lot. So yes, I have
I heard
had
it's
a chance to
beautiful.
go to all the places. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well, so and then I'm curious. So then you're very much what's a very big interest to you is like location of places and you kind of like to depict a very scenic area, right? So
Mm.
this book, the Mapmaker is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's located at the Temple of Nisha, or is this a fictional place, or am I just not as cultured and don't know that that's a real place?
Oh, no, no, everything's fictional. I
Okay.
actually made up the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, yeah, based on things that you've seen and throughout your life. That's
correct,
that's
correct.
that's
Yeah,
great. Nice.
yeah.
That must
So a
have been
lot
a
of
fun process to just kind
yeah.
of pick things out of your brain based on things you've seen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done that a lot. I mean, and you know what's amazing is that there are amazing places in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
just absolutely blow you away.
Hmm.
I've been to Chile, and I didn't know what mountains were until you don't know. You've
Yeah.
never seen a mountain unless you've either been to the Himalayas or the Patagonias, because everything else is just hills.
Yep. And
So
and
it's go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean,
Yeah.
just on a very practical level, like I'm from the Midwest, it's flatland. I went to Colorado once and I'm like, wow, mountains in the backdrop. So I couldn't imagine going to Chile and seeing the most amazing mountains of my life. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, they blow you away. And so, I mean, I and so I try to put those, I don't, they're not real places, but I use
yeah.
those as inspiration for places in my stories because you can't make it up. There's just the world is phenomenal all on its own.
Yeah. And good for you to be able to pull things from like inspiration like that. That's awesome. That makes me want to like dive even quicker into your book because I'm like I already know it's going to be a scenic place. Like I'm a very visual person. I like to visualize everything, right?
Mm,
Um, even when I think about like movies and things, like some of my favorite movies are movies people are like, you like that? And I'm like, yeah, it's very scenic. Like, I'll give you an example. It's a good book. I don't care what anyone says, but people, I want to say about 2012, 2010, something like that.
mm.
Twilight was really, really big. And I'm sitting there like, oh, I love Twilight. And everyone's like, you love Twilight? And I was like, well, it's just very scenic. Like when you're watching the movies, like, I don't
Yes,
care about the acting, but I just love to
it's
watch this,
it's
how
atmosphere.
scenic
Yeah,
everything is. So
yeah, yeah.
very cool. I love
Interesting.
that your book is like that.
Oh, good, good, good. Thank
And
you.
no, thank you. And I'm curious. Is there anything you can tell us because this is a trilogy, right?
Hmm, hmm.
Um, is there anything you could tell us about how all these three books are related? And I don't know if you can answer that, and it's okay if the answer is no.
Um, no, I sure I can. It's just one big long book. And I had to break it up somehow.
Yeah, sure.
I did try to do my best to, there's a story arc that each one goes through. And it was pretty good with the first book to end it on a positive note. so that
Yeah.
it didn't feel like you have to absolutely. But the second book definitely ends on a bit of a cliffhanger that it's nice to have the third book ready to go. So I
Mhm.
did my best to get it out as soon as possible.
Nice.
Um, but I haven't asked that question in regards to, with the folks who have finished it, whether they thought, um, well, they're definitely all connected. It's just one, as far as like the series of events that happens, it's just one. It happens probably within a year. Yeah,
Nice.
about a year. So it's and it's just the way my brain works. Like
Yeah.
I can't just say I have participated in a lot of flash fiction contests and short stories. I've written a lot of short stories before in the past, and I just cannot for the life of me just keep it to 10,000 words or whatever. I mean, it's
Sure.
going to be epic and it's going to be long and it's just
And
just yeah.
those make some of the best books that have a little bit of depth to them.
Mm,
I was reading one book. It was a great book, but it was too short.
mm,
And there were times I remember reading the book where I'm just like, expand on this, talk about
mhm,
this a little bit. And it seemed
yeah.
like they were just trying to get to the end. So kudos to you for being able to make 3 books out of this. That's amazing. Um, Take me through. I want to talk a little bit about your writing process, writing the book. Did it
Mhm,
just flow out of your brain and onto the page? Did you have any sort of writer's block?
mm,
What, especially going through 3 books, was one book more in depth than the other? I know
mm.
that's all a loaded question. I gave you so much there, but take me through that process.
Yeah. So good. It's a great question, and how do I wrangle it? Because, like I said, I've been writing for more than 20 years. Uh,
Mhm.
just as a hobby. Not necessarily for a concerted effort, but for this particular book, I think I wrote the 3 books in 2024, maybe in about 9 months.
Oh, that's
Uh,
good.
but but this this particular story, this setting, these characters, I've been writing about for maybe 10 years, maybe 15
Oh,
years.
wow.
So it started out as a flash fiction, but it morphed into 2 or 3 short stories, and then that got morphed into an entirely different trilogy that I sent off to a developmental editor who pretty much said that it was trash. But she was super nice about it. She was
Jeez.
very super nice about it. But she was just like, "There's no story," and it's just a bunch of words. No, she didn't say that, but it definitely uh, it needed work. And
Sure.
so then I took a lot of and I've always taken a lot of craft courses, and I have, of course,
Mhm.
all the books that tell you how to write a story. And so I just took a step back, reread a lot of that material, and really thought about what I wanted to say in the story, and thought about themes, and
Yeah.
just had and rewrote it in a blur, and before I could stop myself and second guess it, I'm like, this is it, just get it out there. So I self-published. So that was my process. It took 15, 20, I don't know. It took a lot of years.
I hear you. Yeah. I mean, when I was writing my book, it came to me as a dream. And yeah, it was a very, very, it felt like I was there.
Nice.
Very impactful dream. And I just kind of, it stayed in the back of my mind for like a few more years. And I remembered that dream. Oh man, I knew when I had this one dream, I would tell my friends, I knew when I had this one dream, it was insane. And I know that I want to make something out of it. I just don't know what. And eventually you just start writing. So,
Nice.
um, good for you. Even if it took 10 years, you finally like wrote it down. Did you always know that this would turn out to be a book, let alone a trilogy? Or did it just kind of start off as creative material that you wanted to kind of put out there? Like, I guess, did you know this would be like a whole thing?
No, no, not well. When I wrote the first the first iteration of it as
Mhm.
a huge thing of um, that I sent off to that development editor, I knew that it was going to have to end up being cut up into at least 2 or 3 books because it was so long.
Sure.
Um, and so then when I wrote it, the next version of it, I kind of knew what the shape of it was going to be. So yes, I did know it was going to be a trilogy.
Nice.
And my
Okay,
next,
so go ahead.
I was going to say my next book is going to be a trilogy.
You know, oh my gosh, you're doing
Yeah.
a whole. Okay, I want to get to that in a second, but
Okay.
before we get into that, you mentioned earlier, you really love. You're more of a character person. Take me through that. Are any of your characters based on real life people, or are they just completely made up?
There's going to be bits and pieces of everybody in all of your characters, right? Because it's you're inspired by people, right? In your own thoughts and the way you act. And so that it definitely comes in. And so I tell especially my brothers and sisters that have, my brother has read the whole thing, and he's definitely just like, I know who that is. And I'm just like, yes, that's exactly who you think it is. Because I mean, you're inspired by people around you, and so that ends up
Yeah.
and that definitely ends up in my characters. Um, and I used to write male characters all the time.
Mm,
Like that was the
mhm.
only thing I ever wrote. And just recently I've switched over to female characters, and it's different. It's definitely a different uh way of writing and thinking. And which is I didn't realize that would happen. And I mean, we obviously male and female are pretty much the same, but I mean, as far as like our inner monologue, but
Yeah, different
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. And so it's interesting.
Did you
Yeah.
have more fun writing? And it's okay, like it's not going to be like sexist or anything, but did you have more fun like writing a female character over the other? Were you able to relate to that more, or were you able to, relate to more of the men and say, I like the way they think? Or I'm just curious on your creative process behind that, because yeah, I could
Yeah,
understand how that would be very different.
yeah. I don't know if I like one over the other. It's different. It's just different.
Yeah,
It's a different mindset, and actually, and I guess it's the societal constraints,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
what
yep.
people expect from a female
Mm,
character and what people expect from a male character. And I definitely noticed that with my critique partners and the beta readers, that there's just like, oh, they didn't like a female character doing certain things,
sure,
and because, well, that's not how women act. And so it's
right,
definitely interesting and interesting to go against that expectation.
right,
Maybe not a lot, but enough to say, come on, people,
right.
get out of your
Yeah,
comfort.
get it together. I hear you.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah, good.
I like that you're challenging kind of the norms, though. That's fun.
I don't know if I'm challenging them, but I'm thinking about it more. So yeah, so maybe I will. Maybe I will.
So, okay, your characters, wings. What's that about? You
Definitely,
mentioned
yeah.
lots of wings in your. Yeah, go ahead.
Every single one. It's like I didn't realize it until recently that I'm like, oh my God, they all winged. I just I'm fascinated by creatures that can fly, just and also just um the evolutionary decision, right? Think about it. Something back in, millions of years ago, some creature decided that it would be more advantageous to not have arms and have wings instead. And so, I mean, that's just an amazing thing. And so, and of course, I'd want both. I'd want arms and wings. And so, in my fantasy, I have both. And it's just liberating to be able to
Yeah,
fly, and just the cool factor. It's neat. It would be great. And so, I've done a little bit of hang gliding, not very much, but I definitely been able to, uh, bring some of that wonder of being able to see the world at from a different scale. And that's another bit a part of it is just that whole nowadays we have technology that allows us to see the world from a perspective that you
Yeah,
would otherwise get unless you could fly.
hmm hang gliding. I give it to you. I don't think I could do that. I don't
Oh,
think I could do that. So,
very safe. It's
oh
super, super safe. It's like the safest thing you can do
yeah.
off of the
I
ground.
I went parasailing on my honeymoon with my wife, and I was glued. We so listen, I have to say we were luxurious enough. We were lucky enough is the word I'm looking for to have an actual seat to sit down. I understand sometimes you just have a harness. We had
Yeah.
a seat, and on the seat I was clinging for dear life against the pole. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. And we're only 100 feet in the air.
Oh
So
no.
hang gliding. I mean, I give it to you. But you're right. You're able to experience life from a different perspective, the bird's eye
Mhm.
view, if you will, right? So it's
Absolutely.
it's kind of like flying, and
Yeah.
that would be really cool to be able to do in real life. So
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
like that you made a sort of a book about this. Your main character has wings, and I love your cover for the book. It's
Oh,
absolutely
thank you.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good work there. Did you have to do any kind of research for a book like this, or would you say most of it is strictly fictional and you're kind of creating your own world?
It's mostly fictional. I create my own world, and a lot of the whatever research I did do, it was things that I could easily look up in my all the different bird watching books that I have, or
Mhm.
the materials that I already have on hand. And so I didn't do any special research for it. No.
Got it. Okay. Good to know. I like to ask that because I hear a mixture of different answers to that.
Mhm.
And so, you wrote the books, they're published, they're out. Um, One thing I ask a lot of authors is what process did you enjoy most? Did you enjoy the writing piece of it, or did you enjoy sort of the business publishing piece of it? Which one did you enjoy the most?
The writing.
The writing.
I hate the whole publishing, the marketing. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
but I want them out. I want
Mhm.
people to read it, and so I want to share the story. At first, I thought I didn't, that I would just write and just be happy that I wrote it, but I finally decided that I did want to do it, and once I did it, and my brother he's become my biggest fan, which was I didn't think that would happen, but he did, because most of my family, they're just like, oh, you doing that? Oh, okay, whatever. But he's really enjoyed it, and the fact that he has really inspired me to do more, and so I guess the best part of the process is the actual writing and then the reader feedback. Everything else
Yeah.
is just like, a
Yeah,
chore.
I know. Yeah, it's like a chore, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, the publishing, I've had someone who say that they enjoyed the publishing process more. I think
Yeah,
I'm
some
with you.
people love it. Some people love it.
I think some people like, yeah, you're right. I think some people like just the branding of everything, like
Hmm.
coming
Hmm.
up with design, putting it out,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's fun too. It's just for me, I'm more creative with
yeah,
words. Like I'd rather just write
yeah.
and have someone else do the publishing. But if you're an independent author, you're doing both.
Exactly, exactly. I did come up with my own.
Oh, look at that! Can you hold that up?
Aren't they
Can
pretty?
you turn it this way?
Yes.
Oh,
Turn
those
it.
are nice.
Yeah, right there, right there. But let me if I get rid of my background, then you can see that. How do I do that?
Oh, that I'm not sure. Can you just hold up the bookmark this way and then turn it to your right? There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, it turned out really nice, actually.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing. And it's got a QR code.
yes, I got fancy.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And so, I mean that part is kind of fun, like you said,
Sure.
the branding but and I was super happy with the cover that I came up with. I worked with a gal on reedsy.com,
Yeah.
reedsy.com. They she did an excellent job, and she gave me a deal on it because the three books um, which are behind me,
Yeah.
she just did slight alterations to each one, and so
Mhm.
I didn't have it was about $1,000 for all three covers,
Nice. And they
which
look fantastic.
yeah, they look great. Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
They look amazing. I'm telling you. I was just on Amazon and I'm looking and I'm like, oh man, this is because sometimes when you zoom in on something and it looks a
Yeah,
little grainy, yours don't look like that. So
yeah, she did a good job. I'm
I love it.
happy with
So
it.
then okay. So now let's fast forward a little bit.
Yes,
What's next for you? And I think the answer is you're coming out with another trilogy. Is that right?
yes, yes.
Tell us
It's
about that.
what's that?
I said tell us about that.
Sure, sure, sure. It's called, well, I don't know exactly what the first book is called, The Legend of Dam Drake.
Ooh.
She's a dragon and with wings.
I was
So
gonna say with wings.
with wings. But she's a shape-shifting dragon,
Oh,
and she
that's
was stolen at birth, or before she hatched her egg. Her egg was stolen, and it's all about her basically trying to get back to finding her parents, and all of the antics and stuff that goes on. And again, it's you say that the whole world building part, it's all
hmm.
fictional, but a lot of real world issues are I'm trying to integrate into the story.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of geology, and maybe in some politics in this one too. Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. I love
Yeah.
when you can bring that in the books and kind of bring some of those things happening in the real world to life. I think that's really cool that you can do that. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And it might be too early, and that's fine. We'll
Yeah.
just have to keep tabs on it. But do you have an idea of when this could be available
Oh
for
yeah.
readers?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping it probably mm, we'll say
Hard to
August.
say, I know.
No, no, probably August for sure. No later than September.
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
great.
I even have
That's
a
great.
cover. I even have a cover, which I did myself at this time.
Nice.
I don't know how if I could share it, but it's on my website. I guess I could do that, or I can.
Oh, we'll certainly post a link to your website
Okay.
in the description of this podcast video and hopefully for audio as well.
Yeah.
Where and what is your website? Where can fans tune in to all your work?
It's pretty easy. It's just NilaEWhite.com. So NilaEWhite.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Neela, this has been great. I mean, you have such a few outstanding books here, very creative, very professionally done.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, give
I had
yourself a
an
pat
editor.
on the back. Well, I mean, you did everything right, it seems like. I mean,
I tried.
geez.
I tried hard.
You got an editor. You had I know this took us like a 10-year project almost, but you had creative writing classes. You took classes on how to build a story. So there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be an amazing book to read. I
Oh, I
can't
hope
wait to dive
so.
in.
Oh, I hope so. I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. Before we go, do you have any last words that you want to either tell the listeners and viewers or anything else for any other independent author that's maybe looking to get started?
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that my critique partners, I found them on scribophile.com. So if you're looking to up your writing game, it does make a difference to have other writers critique your work. I know it's hard.
Yeah, that's good.
Nobody wants to hear your baby is ugly, but but the whole idea is that these are you know your fellow writers who are trying to improve their own stuff too, and so
True.
we're all just it's writers helping writers. no, it's
And
definitely
that's
worth to check it
and
out.
that's a different perspective from just a standard reader, right?
Yes,
Having a writer critique
yes,
it, that is big. You're pointing out something
yes,
huge. So yes,
yes,
that's
yeah. It makes
something
a
that I think
difference.
is, oh yeah, I was gonna say something that makes a difference there. So
Yeah,
thanks for pointing that out.
yeah, yeah. So I guess that would be my message to writers that are looking into getting their books out there.
Perfect. Well, Neela, you've been great to speak with. I hope that you join us again when your new book
Oh,
releases in August or September.
yes.
But again, can't wait to get started on reading your current project, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Likewise, it's been a lot of fun. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, bye bye.